Welcome back to your weekly roundup of everything that happened in Zenless Zone Zero, where we will cover everything that you missed inside and outside of the game. I hope you're all ready for Valentine's week because there's quite a lot to go through. Starting off with the in-game news, of course the most important thing is that on Wednesday the 12th, Astra and Ellen's banners will be switched out for the Phase 2 banners featuring Evelyn and QingYi, as well as Nicole and Anton as the featured A ranks. So hopefully you've got your pulls ready for when those banners do drop. And speaking of Evelyn, if you'd like to know more about her kit as well as some recommended builds and teams to help you prepare for her, I do have a guide that you can check out after this video. Now, something to note about these two banners is that they are going to last a bit longer than the typical banner. They will be running for 4 weeks in total until the 11th of March, which means that if you are currently strapped for polychromes, you actually have plenty of time to build up a fund. But also, it does mean that at some point during these 4 weeks, we will be getting an official 1.6 livestream, which will show off more details about the kits of both Silver Soldier Anby as well as Trigger, who are an attacker and stunner similar to the two new agents that we will be getting. So if you are on the fence about who you want to pull, my suggestion would be to do your best to perform some self-constraint and wait until we see more information about the new upcoming agents, and then you can make your decision. But aside from the new banners, the other event starting on the 12th is the classic Enna into your lap login event, which will reward you with 10 boopons after logging in for 7 days. And then honestly, I can't think of a better way to celebrate Valentine's Day than by donning your "Women Want Me, Fish Fear Me" hat and going fishing, which you can do in the Elpis Ultimate Angler Championship event, which starts this Friday the 14th. Sorry ladies, I don't have time to go out on any dates with you. There are bigger fish to catch. Literally actually. This fishing event will run until the end of the patch, and it will also be how we can earn a cool new Bang Boo menu wallpaper. Friday also means another Shiyu defense reset and a new buff alongside it. And unsurprisingly, the buff will heavily be favoring the new agent Evelyn, since the buff will increase both fire as well as ice damage by 20%, so yes, Miyabi will still be busted. But chain attacks will also have their damage increased by 40%, as well as give the agent back 10 energy when used, which does also somewhat favor Astra since she can also get out extra chain attacks. And then lastly, next week on the 17th, which is next Monday, the last mode of Lost Void will be unlocked called Hollow Zero Cleanse Calamity, and this is where you will be tasked to complete several fights using the trial characters that have special new skills available to them in the Lost Void. So that is going to be Billy, Miyabi, Ellen, and Yanagi. Next up though, moving over onto the social media side of things, there's really only one new event. Evelyn's character demo was recently released, which I'm sure you've probably seen at least some screenshots from. But to go along with the demo, there is also a Twitter retweet campaign where you have a chance to win one of 20 Bang Boo pillows by simply following the official account and then reposting the linked tweet that is down in the description below. This event will run until Thursday the 13th, so better to do it now while you can. As I said, this is the only new event for now, but I'm sure that throughout the week, some more Evelyn events will be coming out along the way, such as more retweet campaigns, maybe some fan art submissions, as well as some other creative submission events. Now, that may be it for the official events, but I am very happy to announce that there is another event happening right now that I am hosting myself, revolving around the currently ongoing Click Click Holo Reporter event. And by entering it, you have a chance to win the $30 monochrome pack, the $15 monochrome pack, or some internet memberships. Those monochrome packs could be what you need to buy out that Astra skin that you've been eyeing out, or possibly buying out some extra pulls for Evelyn, or you can also convert that into internet memberships if that is what you choose if you win. And all you have to do to enter is join the Discord server and then submit an in-game picture taken during the event that includes your name and user ID. There will be 3 parts to this event. The first is the submission phase, which lasts until this Saturday. Then there will be a public voting by the users from the Discord server to get a bracket of the top 16 submissions. And then next week on the 22nd of February, the winners will be chosen live on stream. So if you're interested, all of the details are available in the announcements channel in the Discord server, so feel free to take part yourself. Now, as a last bit of speculation for old time's sake, I know we've got Anby and Trigger on the horizon for patch 1.6, but it is also possible that we will be getting some regular reruns alongside them as we did with patch 1.5. And the big question on everyone's mind is, who should we expect to be rerun? Now, I'm not a betting man, but if we look at the current landscape of things, in patch 1.5 we have gotten a support, a stunner, and 2 attackers. And then we're getting another stunner and another attacker guaranteed in 1.6. So out of the possibilities, I highly doubt that they would want to put another attacker and stunner as reruns, so that very likely rules out Shuyen, Harumasa, and Lighter as possibilities. And of course, there aren't any other support agents agents to rerun, so that leaves Anomaly and Defenders. Now, they would be crazy to rerun Miyabi so soon, so that means that it is between Jane, Bernice, Caesar, and Yanagi. Yanagi arguably is a bit too recent to be rerun, so that leaves us with just 3 in my opinion. Jane, Bernice, and Caesar. Now personally, I don't think that they would do 2 Anomaly agents back to back on a rerun. Although you could argue it might make sense since that will let you do disorder shenanigans, and after all, Bernice and Jane do work well together, so it's possible that those might be an option. One other thing you have to remember though is that Pulchra is being added as an A rank in patch 1.6. Pulchra is going to be a part of the Sons of Caledon, so maybe there'll be some sort of event or lore to do with the Sons of Caledon, which means that it's very likely that at least Caesar or Bernice will be one of the rerun agents, and then it's just a matter of whether Jane will be the other one. Or maybe, who knows, we're getting the full Caledon special. Personally, I'm very much leaning towards Caesar being at least one of them, especially when you look at some other context clues. When Ellen was being rerun, we had Corin as an A rank to go alongside her in the Victoria housekeeping, so maybe they do the same with Caesar and Pulchra. And I know you might be saying Bernice could do the same thing, but something else that caught my eye was that the next Shiyu defense resets, so not the one coming up this week, but the one after, will be running from the 28th of February until the 14th of March. So it'll have a bit of overlap with the first banner of 1.6, and the buff for that phase will provide agents a 15% increase to their impact. This is very much something that Caesar would benefit from. Now, you could argue that maybe this is for Trigger instead, or any stunner, but I think that since she was shown second in the drip marketing, it'll most likely be Anby the Attacker as the first banner. And coming back to the new Shiyu buff for this week, as mentioned, it does buff both fire and ice, which I know I said was for Miyabi, but in reality, that ice buff is very much for Ellen, who was also being rerun as an ice attacker. So from that example, it looks like at least the Shiyu buffs do take into account not just the new featured agent, but also possibly whatever else is being rerun too, at least with a slight buff. So in that case, this impact increase might be there to help buff out one of the other agents that are going to be featured on the banner in 1.6, who may or may not be Caesar. But that is just my personal speculation. Let me know down in the comments below who you would like to see on the reruns yourselves though. Before we end off the video, I would just like to take this moment to say thank you to everyone who's been supporting the channel and the streams as well. And special shout out to, of course, the channel members too. We're nearing 30,000 subscribers, which is crazy to think, and we have enough channel members now that there's a nice little display of them on the channel page as well. It's thanks to all of you guys that I'm even able to host competitions like the one mentioned earlier in the first place. Your support really does mean a lot to me, especially with some of the recent IRL things that have been happening, where my apartment was broken into while I was sleeping in the very next room, which is, yeah, really messing with my head mentally, but thanks to your support, you're helping me push through. Speaking of streams though, this week, as soon as the new banners do go up, I'll be live streaming my own pulls for Evelyn, and I suppose maybe QingYi as well, depending on how lucky I get. So if you want to live your pulls vicariously through me, come on by the stream and watch as I surely don't lose my 50/50s. And then later this Saturday, we're going to be doing a tier list of all of the character songs in the game. So if you want to see where I rate your favorite song and maybe argue your case, swing on by. Otherwise though, that is going to be it for this week's news roundup of Zenless Zone Zero. As always, if you found this useful, liking, commenting, and subscribing is greatly appreciated. So until next time, bye bye.